care about the left. I don't care about the right. I care about results. And I'm sorry, this false dichotomy, this BS like tribalism has only hurt the country. On areas where we can work together, we should work together.
Trump has done some positive things today, which is a bit shocking. We'll see if it holds.
Brace for impact, right?
Yeah, I know, oh my God. So I've been getting yelled at online all day.
So what's new?
I know, right? What you're saying that Trump enforcing a ceasefire against Israel is a good thing? No, boo, we don't want Israel to have a ceasefire. No, but wait, we do want Israel to comply with a ceasefire. No, you have to hate Trump anyway. Okay, all right. Well, anyway, we'll adjudicate. We'll sort that out. Okay.
I think one of the best things that you can do to kind of understand this current political moment, because a lot of things don't make sense if you're kind of operating based on the old partisan lens. I wish that things were as cut and clear as they might have been in the early aughts, but they're not. They're not, and it's hard to make sense of how things are changing and realigning. We'll talk about this tomorrow, so I have time to produce it, but Candace Owens was on Piers Morgan today for a one-on-one interview. That interview blew my mind, okay? Because everything she said was accurate. Everything she said was true. And everything she said is reminiscent of what you would hear from a left-wing show arguing against essentially aiding and abetting Israel in its genocide in Gaza, for instance.
Yeah, so I'll say it. They had a whole giant Piers Morgan episode about this massive split in MAGA. But I went on Kyle and Crystal just a couple of days ago, and they think there's no split at all.
No, there's definitely a split, right?
But that's what they said. So I don't know if they're on this planet. And when I asked them if they're on this planet, they seem to get mad, and they're, by the way, to be fair to them, they're representing their audience, and their audience doesn't see it at all. That's because they're not getting accurate information.
Well,
like if you think there's no MAGA split in the country, you're a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
So hold on. I wouldn't say they're not getting accurate information. I trust that Crystal and Kyle are giving accurate information.
No, I just mean in general.
Hold on, but what I think is an issue, and I was guilty of this. This was an issue that I had in the way that I was covering stories some years ago. It's that you end up in a bubble and you don't even realize it.
Oh,
right?
That's definitely right.
And when you're in that bubble, there's certain information that's not getting to you. You have to literally actively seek it out because of these algorithms serving up what the algorithm thinks you want to know or thinks you want to see.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything that Candace Owens believes in. Obviously we don't, but that interview was fire. Everything she said in that interview was correct. And if you can't give her credit for saying things that we on the left believe, you really have to ask yourself, how are you operating? Are you operating based on, supporting a specific tribe no matter what?
Yes, that's definitely what they're doing.
And if you do that, well then you're not driven by policy. You're not driven by actually accomplishing the policies that we think will make the country better.
Yeah, look, it's not about Kyle and Crystal at all. I mean, oftentimes I think sometimes these days, it used to be oftentimes, they're usually among the more reasonable. But these days, like if you're on the left and you're watching any of the other shows, you're not getting accurate information at all. They're telling you that the actual Trump voters are liars and they love war. That's not true at all, right? So that's some of the Trump voters will do whatever Trump wants, but a lot of them are actually anti-war. And they're making it seem like almost all the other left-wing shows as if the most extreme MAGA guy represents all 77 million Trump voters. And if you believe that, then you'll hate them. Of course, you'll want to call them fascists and racists and Nazis and all those things. But that's maniacal. No, as you get closer to the middle, there's a lot of former Obama voters, former Bernie voters, anti-war voters, anti-establishment voters, and almost none of the other left-wing shows are acknowledging that. They're out in la-la land. And honestly, yes, most of the other left-wing shows are totally lying to their audience. And they're saying, no, there's no split. They all will do whatever Trump wants. They're all the same voter. They're all hardcore MAGA and they're all fascist. And by the way, as Kyle pointed at me and said, yes or no? Is MAGA fascist? Well, what an asinine question. What do you mean by MAGA? What do you mean? And do you mean Trump voters? Because No, not all Trump voters are fascist. But if you say that on another left-wing show, they'll lose their minds. They'll say, no, you have to call them fascists. I'm the purist, I'm the purist, I'm the most left.
That's fine.
Give me clicks, give me clicks.
I'm not interested in getting into the business of other shows and how they conduct business. You do you, boo, right? But look, I just think that there is an interesting dynamic at play when Breaking Points, for instance, which I love. I listen to and watch Breaking Points almost on a daily basis at this point. Crystal knows better than anyone. Sagar and Jetty is very critical of going to war in Iran. Very critical. He's not a left winger.
How could you possibly say there isn't a split? How could you possibly say that? And what they'll do, I swear to God, and I know it, they'll move the goalposts. So look, you can look at it. We put the interview up on tyt.com/press. And as you watch it, I just want you to like notice what happens, right? I say I don't agree with Trump, and I say, but I think we can get some of the Trump voters. Honestly, they're not listening at all. Then they just go back to, so here's what's wrong with Trump. And I'm like, yeah, I agree, that's what's wrong with Trump. So let's talk about how to get the voters in the middle. And they're like, okay, now here's what's wrong with Trump. So like, then I get frustrated. I'm like, wait, are we having the same conversation here? And so part of that is framing it as, we're tougher and meaner on Trump voters. We got them, right? Oh, Cenk, look at him being soft on Trump voters. That's not a real leftist. And as Kyle said, look, man, I don't catch.
Well, I mean, you're not a leftist, number one.
Yeah, right. But I'm on the left. Like, I'm massively on the left, right? And they're like, leftists don't represent the majority of the left. I mean, whatever words we use, right? Radical left, whatever. They're a small sliver, right? But they always make it seem like we're the true left. Well, the polling doesn't indicate that at all. Okay? So, Kyle was like, oh yeah, you're coddling them. And he used like some profane language, etc. Like, I'm okay, I'm a grown up, that's fine, I don't care, right? But by the way, if I said that to Kyle and I said, oh, you know what? By helping Trump and MAGA win elections by driving away their voters, driving away the voters that are anti-war, anti-establishment in the middle, you're coddling their balls, Kyle. Okay, it's okay, we're all adults here, right? I mean, that's what he said. But if I said that to him in the middle, I bet you he would have been super mad.
Is that how you coddle balls?
I don't know. I think he did it that way. I don't have enough experience with it. Kyle seemed to demonstrate it pretty accurately, I guess. Anyway, seriously, guys, look, it is what it is. We have differences of opinion these days. I'm not saying cancel them, don't watch them. I mean, Anna just told you she watches Breaking Points. I go on Breaking Points, I have these conversations. I'm trying to have conversations where we discuss what is the best strategy to take power away from Trump and bring those anti-establishment, anti-war, anti-corruption voters to our side. And by our side, I don't mean establishment Democrat. If you're gonna go in that direction, they're never gonna say yes. And by the way, I also don't mean radical left, because if you go in that direction, they're never gonna say yes. But if you go populist left, core Bernie, economic populism, they will say yes. So please, it's not about watch this show or that show. Watch all the shows, get all of the opinions, okay? Make sure you're getting the facts. And at the end of the day, think through, okay, it's easy for me to get tribal and say, I hate those guys. That's an easy thing. And by the way, Kyle said, you used to do that, and some of you guys wrote in yesterday and stuff. Yeah, first of all, I do it to their politicians all the time.
The politicians
you fight up,
different.
You look up,
yes,
you fight the politicians, okay?
That's the difference.
Right.
I wanna emphasize that. I wanna say it again, because people keep conflating the politicians with the voters. I'm not interested in attacking voters. I am interested in attacking the politicians.
Bingo. And by the way, and look, Crystal and Kyle are pretty good on this, not some of the other shows, but also holding the Democrats accountable.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Because if you don't hold the Democrats accountable, you got no credibility. So, oh yeah, the Republicans are terrible and they're all the devil, but the Democrats and Kamala Harris run perfect campaigns and Joe Biden's a saint. You gotta be kidding me, no way. But luckily, most people have moved on past that, right? And they were never in that camp in the first place. So look around, watch everything, and then see what do you think is the better strategy. And Kyle said that the better strategy, and repeated online throughout, is we're gonna win the left and liberals and then win the left. But that's what we've been trying to do, and we just lost twice to Trump doing that same exact strategy.
Yeah.
You have to win the anti-establishment voters. You do that through populist left. I don't even think Kyle and Crystal would disagree with that. I don't know if some of the radicals or the establishment guys will certainly disagree.
Right.
Maybe some of the radicals will disagree because you can't ever agree with anyone on the other side about anything, right? But overall, please use your mind. Please, by that I don't mean it like in a derogatory way. Use your own independent judgment. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Kyle's word for it. Don't take Rando's word for it, okay? Think through what is the best strategy. Is the best strategy to call the other voters fascists and drive them away? Or is the better strategy say, hey, if you actually do agree with us, we're not going towards you, they're coming towards us. Anti-establishment, anti-war, anti-corruption, then great, you're welcome. Welcome to come here. And I say that about the Young Turks. Yeah, if you're an independent voter and you believe in populism and you actually meant all those things, you are definitely welcome here. And go ask the other left-wing shows, are they welcome? Now that I've stated it this way, they'll seem like jackasses if they say they're not. I mean, so they might pretend that they are, but every single day they're like, fascists, go away, fascists, don't vote left, don't support the left. Well, if you do that, yeah, they're not gonna support the left, they're gonna go away just like you told them to.
One of the things that Candace Owens said today, and look, it takes balls to say this. I don't think I have the balls to say it, but she literally said, no, I don't want regime change I think we should have a talk about regime change in Israel.
Yeah.
And then she talked about how she believes that Israel has carried out more terroristic acts than Iran has. Which, look, yeah, that was strong. But my point is, she is willing to look at the broader picture, right? Not just what's happening at this moment, but what has happened historically with the formation of Israel, the wars that have been fought on behalf of Israel, and she's calling it like she's seeing it. And so if there is a contingent of Trump voters, and she did vote for Trump, and now she's like speaking out against him because of what happened in Iran with the bombing of the nuclear sites and all of that. If there's a contingent on the right that consists of this anti-war, ideology on the topic of preventing wars, I will work with them. I will work with them, period. I don't care. I don't care if they're right wingers. If they are legitimate in being anti-war, not wanting to engage in regime change on that specific issue, yes, I will work with them. You wanna know why? Because preventing war, to me, is more important than being pure to the left. I don't care about the left, I don't care about the right, I care about results. And I'm sorry, this false dichotomy, this BS like tribalism has only hurt the country. On areas where we can work together, we should work together. And I do think that there's a contingent on the right, voters, and yes, a few media folks who are sick of the regime change wars, they're sick of the forever wars, and they're not full of crap, okay? Because they literally say things publicly that could ruin them, but they say it anyway.
Yeah, so look, last couple of things here. So on that interview, there was times where Candace went too far.
Yes, supporting Kanye West and all that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even get to that part. Yeah. No, that's a disaster. And even when she says, I want regime change in Israel, and Pierce says, yeah, I mean, they should get rid of Netanyahu, all so good so far. And then she later talked about using the military in the context of Israel. And I'm like, okay, bring it down, okay?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so now having said that, she's saying some of the things that we on the left, me, Amy Goodman, Bernie Sanders have been saying for 20 years, but we couldn't get anybody to pay attention. And this sucks about American media. It's like super toxic about American media, but it's true. If you say it on the left, they're never gonna pay attention. The minute anyone on the right says it, they're like, oh, that's such an interesting point. Oh, you know what? And we'll talk about it later in the show. Tom Massey, Candace Owens, when they say, hey, what has Israel done for us? Like if you ask that, we've been asking that question for 20 years on the left and nobody paid attention. The minute those two asked the question, the American media is like, oh, wait a minute, that is a provocative question. What has Israel done for us, right? And the answer is zero, nothing. They've taken, started wars, etc. So, okay. Guys, this is last thing here. Simple concept, but it hasn't been treated as a simple concept. You can agree with some things and disagree with other things about a person. And I'm saying it like I'm almost being patronizing, right? I get it, but that's because so many people say back, no, you can't. You either have to be 100% for Trump or 100% against Trump, Same thing for Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, etc. If you even give them credit on a thing where they're agreeing with you, no, that's toxic, terrible, normalizes, blah, blah, blah. They make up a bunch of words.
There's
you're
no
legitimizing,
There's
platforming.
no normalizing, okay? Candace Owens, it has been normalized, okay? She has a massive audience, massive platform. There's nothing Cenk and I can do that further normalizes Candace Owens. She's wildly popular.
No, it goes to a super arrogant sense of entitlement that I think actually comes more from the establishment Democrats. And it was perfectly illustrated in the Kamala Harris-Joe Rogan situation. They're like, Kamala shouldn't go on. It would normalize, it would platform Joe Rogan.
Please.
He has 39 million subscribers. He would literally be platforming Kamala Harris, not the other way around. And they're like, no, don't do it. No, but then you're stuck in your own little cave and nobody's platforming you and you're like, I haven't platformed anyone. Yeah, that's why no one have heard from you. Okay, so like he's giving you an opportunity to make your case. And that's another thing I was surprised by. I thought that they would see the bro shows are an open rebellion, right? Rogan again today, beating up Trump on immigration, not even the wars, right? Tim Dillon, Theo Vaughn, massively beating up Israel and saying, what are they doing for us and get out of the wars, etc. I'm like, and they're like, nope, I don't see it. And they said that Rogan was like, I don't know, I don't want to paraphrase. You could watch the interview for yourself, tyt.com/press. But like, he put Rogan in the same batch as MAGA, I believe. I'm like, no. Rogan has a whole bunch of right-wing positions I don't agree with, but he's not MAGA. That's a different category. He's in the brosphere. They're more independent. They're not in that same category. They agree. There's a lot of overlap, right? But on war, and even on immigration, he's like, why are they kidnapping people off the streets in the middle of the country?
He's actually been good on the topic of immigration. I remember Rogan got a lot of backlash in Trump's first term, because he hated Trump's immigration policies and spoke out against it. So look, I think Americans are a lot more complicated and complex than all left or all right. I think most people are a mix of some conservative views, some liberal views, some far left views, some far right views. It's a mix. Ordinary people are a hodgepodge of political views. And so I think the issue that I have in general is this effort or this obsession to impugn people's character based on their views on one issue or their opinion on one issue or the other.
Or which side they're on.
Or which side they're on,
It's just pure tribalism. It's like tribalism crack. So you know you're on tribalism crack when the other side comes to you and you reject them. Like, we're not going to them. They're like, oh, you're doing the strategy Kamala Harris and Joe Biden did where they try to get Republicans in the suburbs. No, they did that strategy by wrapping their arms around Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, and conservative corporatist positions. That's a terrible strategy. No, but when the other side comes to you and goes, you're right, we're anti-war, you're right, we like the idea of anti-corruption. Yeah, you could say, hey, you picked the wrong guy for that, Donald Trump. But the right guy is Bernie Sanders and others. You could have that conversation like grown-ups and like human beings, or you could do what a lot of the other left is doing. Fascist, wrong tribe, I hate you, right? Well, then that brother isn't gonna have a conversation with you, and he's not gonna come to your side. Again, I find it so obvious, but yet there is a real massive school of thought that says, no, don't try to get those voters to come to your side, call them evil and shun them. And shun Rogan when he agrees with you, shun Candace Owens, shun Tucker, to shun all of them, even when they take positions that were like textbook left-wing anti-war positions, right?
Yeah, look, guys.
And that's just, to me, that's mental. But if you think that makes sense, okay, good. There's tons of left-wing shows that are doing that. You'll be thrilled. You'll go on there and they'll just, they're like, oh, they agreed with us. They're liars. They're fascist. Ha ha. We drive them away. We drive all their voters away. Oh my God, there's like dozens of shows like that. So you'll enjoy that.
So look, the final thing I'll say is I became politicized in the lead up to the preemptive war in Iraq. And at that time, and for a long time after that, every single Republican, we're talking about voters, members of the media and the politicians, were neocons. Every single one of them. There wasn't an anti-war conservative to be found. And it brings tears to my eyes that today that has changed. That is a good thing because we have to end this paradigm. It is crushing our country.
Yeah.
And so look, if you think I'm a bad person, if you think Cenk's a bad person for being willing to work with anyone on the right who agrees with our anti-war stance, then you can go ahead and think we're bad people. I really don't give a damn.
Yeah,
because I want to see results. I want to see change, and you're not going to get it by living and dying in an echo chamber.
Because of that, I'm forced to say one super last thing, guys.
Of course.
Of course. So guys, I covered the Iraq War. Young Turks was on the air in 2002 in the lead up to the Iraq War. And so that was Ben Mankiewicz and I back then. And we were one of only 2 national shows against the Iraq War. The other one was by the legend, Amy Goodman. So Democracy Now! And the Young Turks going, no, don't go in, don't go in. And they were doing the same exact playbook as they are in Iran now, right? Now here we are, we both survived, we're lone survivors of original digital media, right? And now we're both against the Iran war. And tip of the hat to Amy Goodman, total legend. We appreciate you, sister, okay?
Still going strong, by the way.
Yeah, and so now, that is why what Anna said, if you didn't live through it, you don't know it. I was tearing my hair out in the lead up to the Iraq war. They didn't attack us. They didn't attack us, it's a lie. And the weapons of mass destruction, that's not even true. And we're not going to be greeted as liberators, it's crazy, right? And at the time, there wasn't a single Republican you could find. Every Republican was pro-war.
Correct.
And anytime you say, you so you're best friends with Saddam Hussein, support the troops. That's what everyone on the right would say. And almost everyone in the middle because of so much brainwashing by mainstream media, right? Now we have allies on the right and it's unbelievable. It's a great thing that they're allies. And even in this preposterous fantasy land thinking that they're all lying in unison, who cares? Because they're telling their viewers to be anti-war. They're telling their viewers, be careful about Israel driving this agenda like they did in the Iraq war. So all of those viewers and voters are getting that message. And now we have allies and tons of people on our side are trying to drive those allies away. Having fought with no allies at all against the Iraq war, trust me, you're in infinitely better shape with allies. And then they'll say, yeah, but what good does it do? Well, without allies, without MAGA pushing back, would Donald Trump have been as clear about Israel, you're gonna do the ceasefire, you're gonna bring your planes back? Maybe he would have, and maybe he wouldn't have. And would he have been, remember when he first said we're gonna put ground troops into Gaza? MAGA pushed back ferociously and he reversed it in 24 hours. Again, if you watch those shows, you don't know that probably because they don't tell you when it works, right? So I do know having half of MAGA push back against this or half of Trump's voters overall push back against this is definitely at least a little helpful so that we get to a moderation and don't bring ground troops into Gaza or Iran and get enmeshed in a terrible war. And at the very least, guys, get caught trying to build an alliance to stop a war because policy is infinitely more important than which tribe you're in.
100%.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.